Name of God, most gracious, most merciful, I greet you with the greetings of all the messengers of God. Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you. It is such an honor. I'm so grateful to have been invited and to be here as a part of this momentous occasion. Before I begin, I want to make sure that I thank, first of all, Scott. Thank you for that beautiful introduction and reading, to Omid Safi, my friend who recommended me, and to Heidi for her patience and her perseverance in getting me here safely. You know, it is the season of Lent, the Christian season of Lent, and that's especially unique for me to be here because it overlaps with Ramadan, which starts in approximately 10 days. And both are a time of introspection, of God consciousness, and of sacrifice. So for all of these reasons, and the fact that this is a 100-year anniversary of the Lenten Preacher series, and I am told I'm the first woman in hijab to be addressing this congregation on this type of a lecture. For all these reasons, I was very nervous coming up with my talk today. I really agonized, and even though I do speak for a living, I'm an introvert, and that means we never get over it. And as I thought about what to tell you today, as I crafted my talk, my mind went to another time that I was incredibly nervous about an important talk. And actually, as Scott mentioned, I was invited to give a TED Talk on the main stage of the TED conference in Vancouver. And for anyone who's not familiar, this is a very big deal for anyone like me, because you join Nobel laureates and best-selling authors and very famous celebrities on the TED stage to share ideas with very intimidating audiences. And so it was on my bucket list. And when I had this opportunity in 2016, I was absolutely terrified. And as I agonized over the words that I would share and really thought about what could I possibly offer that would be impressive enough, that would be clever enough, that would be entertaining enough for this occasion, and especially at the time that I was giving the talk, 2016, a very difficult time for my community, where I felt this weight of responsibility, that I was being given an opportunity that perhaps I didn't deserve, that someone else could do a better job. And so all of this was in my mind as I was just writing my talk, and then when I was in the audience watching the amazing speakers that went before me and looking around at who was in the audience, and I happened to notice Harrison Ford. I'm not even kidding. And I had seen Indiana Jones 9 times. I was so terrified to speak in front of him. So my heart just really, my stomach tightened, my chest constricted as I waited for them to announce my name. And as I stood there backstage, trying to get myself together, I did what I always do, which is I said the prayer of Moses, which is what we just heard. And let me simply recite it in Arabic. ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. And you just heard the beautiful translation that was read. To remind you, just taking it verse by verse, ربي اشرح لي صدري, O my Lord, uplift my heart or expand my chest. And this is now just to set the stage for how Moses, the occasion on which Moses said his beautiful prayer to God. Now, Moses was a Hebrew, as you all know. He was a member of the underclass in Egypt. This actually happens to be where I was born, an Egyptian myself. And he was a member of people who were enslaved. And if that wasn't enough to make him feel a sense of nervousness, he had been involved in the accidental death of an Egyptian. And he was on the run from the authorities, who, if they were to have captured him, would certainly put him to death. But not only that, he had already escaped death once as an infant, because he was born the year that Pharaoh had ordered every male child of the Hebrews to be killed because of a prophecy that he had been told that one of them would rise up to destroy him. And so he had every reason to fear speaking up, to fear confronting, just having a casual interaction with an Egyptian when he was a man on the run, let alone a person in authority, a priest or a foreman. But he wasn't being asked to go and confront an Egyptian farmer or a foreman or a priest. He was being called on by the Lord of the worlds to go confront Pharaoh himself. And what was he being told to go say to Pharaoh? Let my people go. To say the unsayable, to suggest what Pharaoh had killed infants to avoid. And in response to that call from God, he made this prayer. Now, he was speaking directly to God. He is said in the Quran, he is called Kalimullah, the one who spoke to God. And oh, by the way, he had a speech impediment. So he was speaking directly to God, and he could have asked for anything. But look at what he asked God for. And this is what dawned on me in that moment of crippling fear before I got on the TED stage. He did not ask for eloquence. Listen to what he asked for. ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Uplift my chest or expand my chest. Uplift my heart. Make my task easy. يسر لي أمري means help me to make it doable. So he was asking for assistance in fulfilling his duty. Untie my tongue. Help me with this nervousness and this speech impediment I have, because you're asking me to go speak to Pharaoh. Couldn't you have chosen someone who could be more eloquent? He didn't ask that. He said, help me with my tongue. Untie my tongue. Why? So they can understand my words. Not so they can be impressed with me. not so that they can admire me. He was asking for assistance in fulfilling his mission so that those who were listening to him could have something new. He was asking for assistance in giving, not taking. And that was this revolutionary paradigm shift for me. I was focusing on the wrong thing. I wanted the admiration of this crowd. I wanted them to think I was impressive. And so I was completely terrified, crippled with fear, as Moses would have been. But he shifted his focus not on what he could get, but on what he was being called to give, which is simply a new understanding, the gift of a new idea, of giving someone a choice to adopt a truth. And because he did that, he was able to go speak to Pharaoh himself. And so when I heard that message in those very familiar verses that I had said 100 times before, my hands finally stopped shaking. And they called my name, and I walked up, stood in the middle of that red circle with that limelight, and I began to speak. And as I spoke, if you watch the video, you'll notice my voice was quivering a little, and then it got stronger. And I was getting applause. And I delivered my talk, and at the end, this incredibly accomplished audience gave me a standing ovation, nothing I expected. And then I walked out and just felt this incredible relief and gratitude to God for giving me the strength to do that. And I looked up, and there was Harrison Ford right in front of me. And he said, "That was great. I learned a lot." And I wanted to say, "Thank you, Dr. Jones," but I didn't. So I managed to say something coherent, I think. I said, "Oh, thank you so much." And I felt like mission accomplished. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your words and your witness. Dalio, for a few minutes, will be available to say hello as you make your way out. I remind you, if you're like me, not of Dalia's tradition, it's customary for men and women not to shake hands. So greet her with your heart and your joy, and thank you. Go in peace to love and serve the Lord.